my mom saw the event on the calendar and we talked about it. She ended up bringing my son, Jordy, up for a 4 generations photo.
Welcome to My Story, Our Mission. Join us as we explore the stories of Immanuel employees, their career paths, passions, and moments that define Immanuel's mission.
We are in the Fulgerstrom Chapel at Immanuel Courtyard here in Omaha. Our guest today is Holly McDonald.
Holly is an administrative assistant at Newport House. And Holly, you've been with Immanuel 3 years total now?
Yes, total. I am a boomerang, so I'm back now for about 1.5 years.
Explain what a boomerang is.
Yes, I would describe a boomerang as someone who starts at a company, really likes it, likes working for the organization, and then comes back for good reason. So I left for a little bit to extend my education and then ended up wanting to be with Immanuel and working here again.
Tell us about your journey. Like, where did you start at Immanuel? What were you doing when you left for some of the college fellowship, and what brought you back?
Yes, so I started at Immanuel through an internship program. So I was in my first year of grad school at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, studying health administration, and I knew I loved working with older adults. And so I had a professor who was amazing. He always connected the lectures to me. He would speak specifically to gerontology, senior living, and long-term care when, going over different content. And he encouraged me, based on my interests, to work for Immanuel. He said, you have to pursue your internship at Immanuel. And he connected me to Corrine Hickman, who I know still works for the organization in a different role. And at this time, I think it was just starting, like the internship program was just beginning within the organization. And they paired me up with the executive director at Graceview Courtyard, and I interned for the summer. And I got to see the community meet 100% occupancy for the first time. It was a really good experience. And so I pursued a part-time position within the organization then while I completed my education. So even after the internship ended, I tried to stay with Immanuel.
And what was that role that you took the part-time with us?
Yes, so I transitioned to the home office. I worked with the foundation part-time, and I supported basically processing the donations, working on different activities and things within all of the communities. So I had the opportunity to go to every Immanuel community across Lincoln, Omaha, Council Bluffs, and Des Moines.
You got to be part of the fun activities, right?
I did.
The foundation does a great job on those, yes.
Yes.
So not only a boomerang employee, you were also an intern that then went part-time, that then now is here full-time. So a lot of career growth with Immanuel.
Yes, definitely.
You mentioned earlier that you were in school and knew then that you wanted to work with seniors, wanted to work in gerontology. What put you down that path? What appealed to you in that area?
So it all goes back to when I was in high school. I started volunteering at the local assisted living community in Elkhorn, and I ran bingo, and I loved it. And I didn't know that you could find a career within that. So I ended up joining the Eastern Nebraska Office on Aging and doing Meals on Wheels with my mom as a part of that interest and just trying to pursue and see what something could look like. And so even though I was under the age requirement for working with the ENOA, they made an exception because I paired up with my mom. And so I was volunteering with her. We were paired with the same companion for 3 years throughout my time in high school. It was really meaningful work visiting our resident. And so I pursued that further to then study health. Actually, technically, I studied human services with an emphasis in aging at the University of Iowa. Had to find kind of a niche degree. It wasn't very common, at least at the time. There was no undergrad degree in gerontology, so I found a different avenue that basically still studied older adults, but also more of like the social services side, not just the biology or like the healthcare side.
I imagine your mom would be very proud seeing you in a career that got started there, that she was an integral part there in high school with you.
Yes, it was a really fun opportunity, a good bonding experience for my mom and I. We really enjoyed it together.
So you're at Newport House now. What do you enjoy most about your job there?
So at Newport, I have the opportunity to sit at the front desk. And so I see all of our residents, volunteers, guests, family members. And it's a really unique position because you get to be the first face that people see. And I really enjoy getting to know everyone, from a tour to a new resident to a long-term resident who's been there for many years. It's really fun to get to know people from the very start.
And that's a really vital role for families who have their loved ones in the community, right? You're the kind of go-to, the central focal point, somebody they know they can get their answers from. Speaking about family members, so my mother, as an Immanuel employee, has been a resident at Newport 2 times for skilled rehab. And I know you have a family member, your Nana, that's at Newport. When you're on the other side of the coin and it's your family being taken care of, it's a whole different perspective. Tell us about your perspective with Newport caring for Nana.
I think that the timing was perfect. And so this past summer, I actually welcomed my first baby into our family.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So that it was about June this past summer, and my due date was coming up, and we knew my Nana needed to relocate from an assisted living community into long-term care. And she had been in Ashland, Nebraska, where my parents live, which was most convenient. But knowing that she was ready for the next level of care, I really wanted her to be in an Immanuel community. And about a week before my baby was born, we were actually able to move her into Newport House.
Wow.
And I say the timing is perfect because my mom then spent a lot of time with me and her new grandchild. And we didn't have to worry about my Nana because she was at Immanuel being cared for by my own colleagues who I also call friends.
That's fabulous. I love that.
I don't know that there's any better recommendation or referral that you can make as an employee to say, hey, I want my family members where I work and I want them to have that level of care. And so for both of you having family members here, I think that speaks volumes. So we were most recently, our marketing team was at Newport House for a glamour photo shoot. And a thing that stood out to me was how many employees had family members there, but then just the unique experience. Tell us a little bit about that and why that's a great thing to see for no matter what age someone's at, no matter what stage of life, of being able to have a photo taken.
That event was really cool. It's now one of my favorites. It was the first time I'd seen that event happen at any community, and I've spent a lot of time in different communities throughout my volunteering and career. So this glamour shot is such a fun opportunity for residents to get dressed up because so often our residents aren't necessarily leaving the building or leaving the campus anymore, but it's a reason to dress up for something special, and then they get something tangible from it. So I know I'm planning to frame the pictures that you guys took of my Nana and then also of me, which was really cool to be involved. And then maybe even turn it into a puzzle or something that she can work on.
And wasn't the little one in the picture too?
Yes.
Yes.
So my mom saw the event on the calendar and we talked about it. She ended up bringing my son, Jordy, up for a 4 generations photo.
Oh, love that.
That is, yeah. And it was a special event for us in the fact that the Newport House employees, like we thought, you'd have a little bit of hair, makeup, you'd have some props and everything. They went all out. And so for us, it's just a very rewarding thing to be able to be a part of that and to be able to share that with the employees and the residents.
Definitely. I think it's a favorite all around.
So when you did your fellowship, which you did in Lincoln, correct? You had to leave Immanuel for a while, go to Lincoln to do your fellowship, and then you knew you wanted to come back and kind of put roots back down in Omaha. What was it about Immanuel? What makes Immanuel different that made you say, this is where I want to build my future in my career?
Yes. So I would say, of course, I knew I wanted to work in senior living. But if I was going to do that, it would be with Immanuel because of the values and the mission of the organization. And I loved that I could reach out to people who I'd worked with and I knew they still worked for Immanuel. You meet a lot of people who have worked here for a long time for a very good reason. And so it was nice to be able to reach out to those people, let them know, hey, I am working on moving back to Omaha and this is where I want to work. It was nice to be able to reconnect with people and just feel like I could jump right back in and be around those familiar faces. And then, like I said, too, the values and the mission of the organization, the Christ promises, I really connect with the work here. I think you see it every day. You can't walk around a community without someone asking you if you know where you're going, if you need assistance. I saw that coming here today, too.
That's first time over here in the chapel? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what you had shared.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself growing with Immanuel as the years go by? What else do you want to do here?
Yeah, I have loved working here. And I am currently training with our business office manager. So my goal is to help fill in for her, when she travels or when she's out. I think that's been a good learning and growth opportunity. And then my goal is just to continue to grow throughout the organization. I've seen the independent living side and now the skilled nursing and long-term care. So it's been great to see all the different levels of care and the different service lines. And I feel being at the front desk and being a connector, I've seen how those departments interact. And I think I've learned so much in my current role that I can take with me.
What's that feeling like knowing that you've got career advancement opportunities? You're now in a role that was different than what you were previously, and you know that there's options out there within the organization. What's that like knowing that you don't have to go to another organization to find that career advancement?
Yeah, I think it's great. And it's one of the reasons why probably people do work here so long is you do have growth opportunities within the organization. I know very frequently that we get an email, maybe from Chrissy, with all the open positions within the organization. Yeah, and it's a great way to put it out in front of people so you really feel like you know what's available, that these opportunities are out there for you, and you know who you can reach out to explore those.
What's a memory that stood out from you from your time here at Immanuel? Whether it's a specific role you were doing, an interaction with an employee, an interaction with a resident. What's one thing that when you talk to people about your job that you like, no, that's the story I want to share? That's
the thing. I would say probably one of the stories within my Nana moving to Newport House. So my Nana in assisted living had a cat that lived with her. And we knew part of the move would involve her cat no longer being able to live with her. And this cat only liked my Nana, did not like any other people. So it was a very unique situation. We didn't know what to do. And our director of nursing came up to me and said, I know exactly what we can do to help. Your cat should go live on our maintenance manager's farm and be a barn cat. And that way, she can get as much or as little human interaction as she wants. And we basically set up this adoption of our cat. So luckily, we had this conversation, and I had my baby a couple weeks early. So I wasn't even there to see this all happen, but they made sure it did. So when my Nana moved in, Joel saw my mom, they connected, and then her cat ended up moving out to our maintenance manager's farm.
So we take care of residents, and we also will take care of pets and figure out what to do with them. That's a great story.
Yeah, it feels random, but it brought a lot of peace of mind to our family.
Absolutely.
Pets are family members. And so Newport House literally helped us figure out what to do with my Nana's family.
That's teamwork. It's going the extra mile.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I think we've got time for one more question.
So Holly, I'm curious, what parting advice would you give to someone that's thinking about working for Immanuel or even in retirement living? What would you tell them?
I would tell them that it's really rewarding work. You get to build relationships with the people you work with, and it's the perfect mix of working with people but having many different avenues that you can work in. There's healthcare, there's administration, there's marketing, special projects, a lot of different opportunities. And like I said, extremely rewarding and gratifying work.
Wonderful. Thanks for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Stay tuned each month as we explore more stories of Immanuel employees, their career paths, passions, and moments that define Immanuel's mission.